I think the perfect kind of music is music that I've already heard before, but worse. Take Anxiety, for example. It's just somebody that I used to know, but much, much worse. However, I think we can go simpler than that. How about just pitch the song up? Now that's a hit. And let's just chuck like 3 rodents to be the face of the music. Then let's make like 3 shows, 4 live action movies, marketable plushies, a live show, and just so much more music. And I think we're good. I know that sounds crazy, but do you know what's crazier than that? You, for not knowing that already exists. Alvin and the Chipmunks, or as I once heard pronounced, Alvin and the Chipmunks, and I still find that really funny. I think it's hard to exist for the last couple decades without knowing about these guys because they are everywhere. And I know I was a little mean to them in the intro, but honestly, they've got a couple bangers. If you're a child and the novelty of a chipmunk singing hasn't worn off yet, or if you're a YouTuber and you haven't matured yet, wait a second. Alvin and the Chipmunks has existed for a fair bit longer than I think you've realized. However, I think the best thing they did were their movies. I think they're alright. Sue me.
Hey guys, that was a joke. Please don't sue me. I've been getting sued left and right recently. Even my lawyer is suing me. I didn't even know we could do that.
So why don't I take you through the journey that is the Alvin and the Chipmunks movies. The highs, the lows, and what they did to David Cross to get him so mad. All this and more coming up right now. Alvin and the Chipmunks, released in 2007, and while having a great IP to work with and a pretty damn good cast, the film was not anticipated to be a success. The director having just come off the failure that was Garfield: A Tale of Two Kitties, a franchise honestly worth its own video. But we're not talking about Garfield right now, alright? Come on, pay attention. The casting was honestly really good. Maybe not what the director had originally wanted, as here's a list of actors that the director wanted prior to Jason Lee getting the role. Bill Murray, Jim Carrey, Chevy Chase, Tim Allen, John Travolta, and Ben Stiller. They were all originally offered the role of Dave, and all of them declined, which is a crazy thought to think that in an alternate universe, Dave could have been played by any of them. But honestly, I think Jason Lee actually nails the role. We open the first movie with some beautiful singing, which I need to address the elephant in the room. Not that one. I won't be able to play much, if any, of the music in any of these films, lest this video gets completely taken down. This was a problem in my last retrospective on Diary of a Wimpy Kid. There were parts of the video that had to be taken out for copyright reasons, just to let me upload the video. And thank you to all the people who were very understanding in the comments of the last video. So I'm going to try to be a bit more careful this time around. All good? Cool. After the Chipmunks get their tree stolen to be put up as a Christmas tree, we get introduced to our good friend, Dave Seville, who's fallen asleep at his keyboard, something we've all done before. But oh no, he's late to a meeting. However, that doesn't stop this man from sharing some great life lessons.
Pants! I need pants. Pants are essential.
A subtle bit of exposition later, we discover that Dave is, to put it bluntly, a loser. He doesn't take anything seriously, couldn't handle a real relationship, and is trying to become a YouTuber. Wait a second. Sorry, no, a music writer. He's trying to become a music writer. He's not that lame. But regardless of those flaws, he's trying to be better. And to prove that, he politely offers Claire, this one, over for dinner without being overly demanding.
How about we get together and talk about the new Dave over dinner? Tomorrow night, my place. Great!
And man, oh man, is new Dave cool. He drives a cool car, works a cool job, and has the coolest boss. Played by David Cross, who has now stated that working on this franchise was the worst acting job he's ever had, and regardless of how much they offered for the 4th film, he would say no. But I'll get into that in a little bit. Okay, sit tight. Hey guys, Editor Daniel here. Dave doesn't work for Ian. Don't know why I didn't realize that. I just kind of assumed he was his boss, but no, he's not his boss. He's just pitching a song. So I'm sorry for not realizing that. Anyway, back to the video. After getting escorted to Ian's office, Dave plays Ian his song that would put the Smiths to shame.
My sweet love, if you die tonight.
Your song sucks, Dave.
What?
Your song? It's awful. I hate it. Dave, we both come a long way since college. You, not so much. If I wasn't your friend, I'd say, Dave, you go right back out of this office and you keep writing music. You'll get there someday, but I am your friend, so I'm going to tell you that there is no sense in writing songs that no one is ever going to sing.
Ever?
Enraged by this sad truth, Dave thinks quick on his toes and steals a basket of pastries. Puff pastries? More like tough and pasty. Yeah, Dave, you steal those confectionaries. Why go through the effort just to throw out the entire basket? Dave, have a fucking muffin. I've never seen someone so politely have a breakdown and completely destroy their passion.
Quick, hide!
Did I put these here?
Did I make this mess? Must have. Joy.
Whoa. I'm just kidding, that's not really the end of the movie. I got you though, didn't I? I got you. After Dave wakes up, freaks out, throws them out, they sing and he lets them back in. They come to an agreement. They can stay there, have some food, have some TV, and in return, they sing for Dave. But there's one problem with that. Dave sucks at writing songs. Luckily, while trying to sleep, inspiration hits Dave like a truck. Or a hula hoop. He writes the song titled Hula Hoop in the movie, however originally titled The Chipmunks Song in real life. More aptly named in my opinion.
We're gonna have bad, non-talking rodents around here.
Kinda racist, Dave, now. Now, like I said before, I probably can't play the song in this video, but take my word for it, it's a banger. Unfortunately, due to the stage fright just from the sheer aura emanating from this man, Dave seems completely insane. And surprisingly, doesn't seem very interested in the box of chipmunks. Skipping forward a tad bit now, I want you to remember this number right here, 1958, okay? Remember it. Write it down if you have to, because it will come back later. Cool? Cool. Claire comes over for dinner, which goes really well.
This is nice. Just two friends having dinner, hanging out, nothing weird.
Oh, baby.
My life is being sabotaged by talking chipmunks.
You haven't changed at all.
Which was the final straw on the chipmunk's back. So he kicks him out on the street. Oh, no, never mind. He makes them a makeshift home and writes a very polite letter explaining why they have to leave. Dave, what are you doing? The agreement was very simple. You let them stay at your house, and in return, all they have to do is sing for you. They didn't sing for you. That should have been it. Oh, okay, you're not going to sing? Bye. But no, you waited for them to destroy your job, your house, and any chance of rekindling this relationship.
And while I'm talking about that, Dave was way too quick to just be like, talking chipmunks. Guess they're real. One more person to confirm you're not seeing and hearing things, alright? From this point on, there could have been a complete derailing of the plot, where we discover that Dave has actually gone crazy, and he's slowly losing it as these imaginary chipmunks act as the gateway between his mind and reality. He was actually the one who trashed his house, but he blames the chipmunks that only he can hear. He scribbled all over his own work, and the reason they didn't sing here is because they actually can't talk. But no, that's not the case. These chipmunks are real, they can actually sing, but Dave isn't going up to Claire and being like, can you hear this or am I losing it?
I guess Dave's secretly like a masochist because he doesn't kick them out. He throws out the letter that he was writing and just endures more pain from them. However, the chipmunks agree that maybe they've been a bit bad to him. They might owe him one for destroying his life. So they head on over to the one man powerful enough to help.
Welcome to Jet Records.
Dave, in his constant effort of relatability, attempts to empathize with a fellow shopper.
Kids, huh?
Yeah, to keep you on your toes. Do you have any?
3 boys.
Some days are better than others.
And some days you just want to close them in a box, leave the box in the park, and run away,
Then, while at the shops, Dave hears his song playing. Isn't it the next day? And then to get it to the... whatever. I'm sure it's just the swift work of... And the song was an astounding success. Everyone was listening to it. Left, right, center. And like the businessman Dave is, he reinvests his earnings into clothes for the little chippies to make them that much more marketable. But wake up! Because it's Christmas morning. The Chipmunks surprised Dave with some very nice gifts, such as a paper compass and his own wallet. And Dav gets the Chipmunks
Savings bonds.
Cool.
Come on, Dav. Luckily, or known from this point onwards as Uncle, comes in clutch with some crazy gifts and lets them know that it's time to step up their exploitation. Step up their career. That's what I meant to say. So now they're doing a big announcement for their CDs, marketable plushies.
It's Spanish.
And they're going on tour. Dave, not wanting to put them through too much, is against making them do all of that, but he made one fatal mistake. Choosing his opponent.
Don't go against me on this, Dave. I never lose.
After Ian perfectly manipulates Dave into getting annoyed and blurting out,
Oh yeah? Well, if you love Uncle Ian so much, why don't you go live with Uncle Ian?
they do. And let's just say, watching this scene as a kid, man, I've never wanted to be a talking chipmunk more. Now, I don't want to be overly skeptical here, but I'm starting to think that Uncle Ian may have ulterior motives, because I'm kind of getting the feeling that he's only doing this for money. But I'm sure I'm just being crazy, you know, Uncle Ian would never do that. I'm acting crazier than Dav. Ian starts putting them to work real hard, and Dave is starting to miss those little guys. Ian, to keep them awake long enough, introduces them to caffeine, which the... Whoa! The f***? Simon just flew. He's not bouncing off the wall there, he actually just flew. The hell was in that drink? It made Super Simon.
This is absurd. I feel like P. Diddy with fur. P. Diddy with fur. P. Diddy with fur.
That aged well. Something he probably said all the time. Too soon?
5 minutes of your...
Now, the end of the movie is pretty simple. Dave goes to concert, Dave can't go to concert. Dave gets in, Dave gets kicked out.
Alvin!
I never lose. No! Roll credits. Very nice movie. But there's something a lot of people may have not realized. This is nowhere near the Chipmunks' first appearance. Some people a bit older than me might be like, yeah, of course not. They had that show in the 80s. And still wrong. That wasn't even where they started. The year that they started has already been told to you in this video. Let's test your memory. What was the number I asked you to remember? 1958.
That's right, Alvin and the Chipmunks actually debuted in the year 1958 with some interesting original designs. But they weren't seen on TV until their first show, The Alvin Show, because I guess screw Simon and Theodore. I watched an episode of it, and honestly, for a show in the 60s, it was pretty good. One of the first things that stood out to me besides the really cool special effects were the Chipmunks' designs, specifically the size of them. Looking at Alvin here besides Dave, you're probably thinking, that's a huge chipmunk, until you realize that Alvin is the smallest of the three. It's really weird that Theodore was originally the second tallest. But why is Simon the size of a person? He's so tall! It is uncanny watching a show like this now, with the constant white noise and the uncomfortable pauses. And that very specific cadence that everyone from the 1900s seemed to speak in.
They always spoke like they were about to solve a mystery.
But honestly, for the 60s standards, I'm really impressed with the quality of the cartoon they were able to achieve. It's pretty nuts. Little chipmunk comedy feel.
Come on to the best chipmunk comedian around.
Okay, now before we actually get into the interesting stuff, allow me to discuss something very sad. You see, I'm fortunate enough to live in Australia, where I can access all of the Alvin and Chipmunks movies on Netflix. But if you live in the US, you don't have that luxury, which is why I
recently partnered with ExpressVPN, baby. Whoa, that caught me off guard. You know what else catches you off guard? Hackers and your ISP. What you need is a virtual private network, a secure tunnel between your device and the scheming internet, keeping your data private. But why does that matter? Your ISP can see, log, and sometimes even sell everything you do online. Even your boss or school can see what you're looking at. little freak. ExpressVPN encrypts and reroutes your online traffic, so no one can spy on you online. Not your ISP, not hackers, and not me. But you probably don't even care about that stuff, even though you should. You just want to hear about the fun stuff. Ever wanted to watch something not available in your country? Well, with ExpressVPN, you can. Just change your virtual location and unlock tons of new content. You want to make your own retrospective on Alvin and the Chipmunks? No? No. Well, let's pretend you do want to. Now you can. They invest in premium servers, have 24/7 live customer support, and a 30-day money-back guarantee. And congrats on you for finding this video, you little sleuth, because if you use my link, expressvpn.com/Daniel, you've just got yourself up to an extra 4 months completely free on your next 2-year plan. Thanks again to ExpressVPN.
Oh, you're back. Oh, sorry. Oh yeah. The second movie, or aptly named The Squeakquel, came out 2 years after the first movie, and it starts with Alvin f***ing killing Dave.
I want to talk to my boys.
Oh, never mind, it was just a couple minor injuries. Alvin comes to finish the job, yet he fails again. So to look after the boys, Aunt Jackie has come over, and Toby, her grandson, so I guess Dave's nephew? Not really sure how that relationship works. If you can figure out that family dynamic, please comment the relationship because it's killing me not knowing. Anyway, Toby f***ing kills Aunt Jackie. We are 7 minutes into this movie. At this rate, I'm going to die before the end of it. Now Toby will be looking after the chippies. After watching the start of this movie, a couple questions come to mind. One, where's Claire? The end of the first movie made it seem like she was going to become a lot more involved. Well, she made the decision that David Cross wouldn't be making until a bit later. Cameron Richardson stated that she didn't enjoy working on the first film, so she didn't return for the Squeakquel. And second, why was Dave shunned out of the filming? Well, filming dates for this movie conflicted with filming dates for My Name is Earl, so they just kind of wrote him out for most of it. So that clears that up.
The whole premise of this movie is that the Chipmunks are now going to high school, and they set up some early conflict between them and like the cool kids, you know, like the jocks. Give me your lunch money now. Mainly just this guy, but there's others there too. But let me just say this. Why the hell are you surprised that you're not getting as much attention because the Chipmunks have come to your school? Dude, we just saw in the intro how popular they are. I wouldn't be upset in high school if I started getting less attention because a young Justin Bieber started going to my school.
Now, just as everyone was getting bored, a familiar face shows up. While not living as luxurious as we last saw him, it's Stuart Little. And also, he lost it all after the last movie, which I don't really understand. I mean, he was already living it up before the Chipmunks. I know that they bailed on like the world tour, but I don't really know how that made him lose everything. Wouldn't he still be getting some royalties from Jet Records or like, I don't know, just some savings? Maybe he should have taken those saving bonds Dav gave him. I just hate seeing Uncle Ian like this. It breaks my heart. But fortunately, it looks like things might be turning around for him because he just got a big package. What's better than 3 chipmunks who can sing, you ask? 3 different chipmunks who can sing. Now that's a winning formula. Introducing the Chipettes, with perhaps the bitchiest sounding names I've ever heard. No offense to any Britneys, Eleanors, or Jeanettes watching this video. They impress him with their singing and he's all like, that was great, that was fantastic, I'm gonna make you stars. And they're like, great. Where are the Chipmunks? We heard you represent them, what happened? Thinking quick on his toes. I can't tell them that I abused them and they left. So, I need to provide a little white lie. A nudge of the truth, if you will.
I worked my butt off and make them rock stars, and they changed.
No! Oh, that's terrible.
I know. I mean, I treated Alvin like he was my own son, you know, and then he just goes and spits on me. Literally. Filled his chipmunk cheeks with saliva and just had at it. Don't even get me started about Simon.
But not Theodore, right?
It's the cuddly ones you have to watch out for.
Back over to the Chipmunks now. We got the jealous jock from before warning them not to talk to the girls. You know what? Don't even think about the girls.
Are you thinking about them?
Well, I am now.
Whoa! He would have killed Alvin there. Chipmunks are not that strong. That wouldn't have pinned him down. That would have crushed him. He's trying to kill Alvin. That seems illegal. It's gotta be some kind of crime. Yeah, it says right here. Article 5 of the AATC. It is illegal to kill any of the 3 chipmunks. It's right above the IMD fun fact that all 3 of the chipmunks were fake. no real chipmunks were harmed in the making of this movie. Interesting. They do end up catching Simon, but luckily they don't immediately kill him. They just try to drown him in the toilet instead, but Alvin fishes him out. Simon's mature though. He says that violence is not the solution. But then he sees them fat-shaming Theodore. I guess those superpowers from earlier came back because he f***ed them up, which gets them sent to the principal's office. Now I have a problem with this logic because 1, they could have really hurt Alvin here and here. 2, basically just attempted murder to Simon here. And 3, maybe worst of all, they fat-shamed Theodore. So I don't know why the chipmunks are getting hit with the "you should be suspended." However, they don't, because the principal is, how do I put this? A chipmunk stan, and says that they won't be suspended if they perform at the upcoming singing competition, with a cash prize big enough to save the music department, the most important school department. Home from school now, Alvin demonstrates his hidden bowling talent.
Watch and learn, my friends.
And this is where we learn that Toby wasn't always as cool and nonchalant as he is now, which came as a huge surprise to me. Turns out our boy here used to be a bit of a nerd. Second day at school for the chipmunks, and they're playing dodgeball. Sorry, do they not get permitted to not participate in something that could kill them? They're the size of the ball. Since Alvin is so cool, he manages to catch one of the balls that this guy threw, and instead of being annoyed, he's actually impressed.
Dude's got hands. I think they're paws, actually.
So he invites him onto the school's football team. Meanwhile, he's having trouble getting people on board for his new talent, which is when he gets an idea.
Girls, we're going to school.
If it's unclear what's going on, that singing competition that the chipmunks are going to go into, Ian wants to get the chipettes to represent the school instead for a publicity stunt. Devious scheme, I know. But what's even more devious than that is Simon absolutely obliterating this guy.
And you call yourself a jock.
The destined encounter we've all been waiting for? Chipmunks meet the chipettes, but Brittany quickly shuts it down because of what warned her of. However, that quick interaction got them smitten, which is why Toby comes in to show them how to act nonchalant around their crush.
They were just... You know what? I know a guy who actually...
Ian then begins stage 2 of his plan. Put on a show and demonstrate the new talent. And he goes all out. However, as we covered, the principal is a big chipmunk fan, not chipette fan. But did you forget who we're talking about here? This is Ian Hawke. He gives out his speech on democracy, basically saying that the chipmunks are old news. And I mean, he's got a point. After all, you can't spell chipmunk without unk. So the principal proposes a solution. This upcoming Friday, both groups will perform in front of the entire school, and whoever gets the most applause will be able to represent the school in the talent competition. This causes some tension between Simon and Alvin. Simon says that it's important to practice for this upcoming competition every day after school, while Alvin, he wants to be in with the cool kids. And I don't know why they're sleeping on the couch because they have a bedroom. Toby almost kills Theodore. This guy almost kills Simon. Simon almost kills Alvin. Is anyone safe in this movie? Friday is now here, and Alvin is having to be smart. He wants to win the big game, but he also has to make it in time for the performance. So he wins the big game. Let's go, Alvin. Let's go party. Let's go celebrate. I had nothing else to do today. The chipettes perform. The crowd loves it. Now it's time for the chipmunks to perform, and unfortunately Alvin isn't there.
Our brother Alvin couldn't be here today. The thing is, we've never performed without Alvin, and we're not starting now.
Why the hell are they booing?
Fuck you, like chipmunks.
So by default, the chipettes win, and everyone in the crowd is stoked. Except for him, her, and him. Even though it's been hours since the performance, Alvin still tries to show off. I guess he thought just everyone would wait for him. One person did.
You know, Alvin, Ian was right. You don't care about anyone but yourself.
Damn. More like Chipmunks. Since Theodore is fed up with his brothers not being like meerkats, he goes to the zoo to go live with some meerkats. Unfortunately, he goes into the wrong cage. Can you guess what's in it? It's empty. Except there's an eagle! Hell yeah! Since the Chipettes won, they're about to represent the school at the singing competition. But Ian's all like, sorry, no, you won't be doing that. I've actually booked you a gig opening for Britney Spears. And sure, they're excited, but they're like, no, we're representing the school. So Ian gives them a choice. Kind of. Luckily, Brittany gets a hand of Ian's phone and calls Toby. Toby? Why does Ian have Toby's number? And why does Toby have Ian's number saved in his phone? Whatever. Alvin goes to save them, not before doing a wheelie spin. Oh, no, three. And one more for good measure. Great job, Alvin. Luckily, he caught up right at the right time. They get back right in the nick of time to perform a very well choreographed performance that they had around 7 seconds to plan. Meanwhile, Ian doesn't let a couple lost talent. I hit the mic. Meanwhile, Ian doesn't let a little lost talent stop him from doing his job.
And I'm Eleanor. And I'm Brittany. And we're the Chipettes. I'm sorry.
Where'd he get the dress from? Ian, bud, I don't mind what you do in your spare time, but keep it at home. We get a good old, oh, what the heck, everybody dancing at the end of the movie. And Dave's back. Also, the Chipettes are now living with Dave too. Hey, Aunt Jackie's alive. Cool, so we made it to the middle of the franchise. I hope you've enjoyed so far, because now it gets serious. You thought it was gonna be fun and games the whole time? Oh no, you're wrong. Dead wrong. Forget school and singing. We've now got freak accidents, lost at sea, schizophrenia, fear of abandonment, and we still don't know why David Cross left. Just tell us, you son of...
Chipmunk. You son of a chipmunk. That's what I was going to say. Right before we jump into the next two movies, I want to quickly discuss the first movie. You already did that. Oh, no. The one from the 80s. You thought that was just the show. Oh no, you idiot. There's a movie. The start would make you think it's just going to be like a longer episode, but they go on one hell of an adventure. Chipmunk adventure. And dude, the animation is randomly just great at certain parts. Like look, this came out in the 80s. And also, I don't know why the Chipettes just look like people. It's a little strange, but out of all of the movies released in this theater, this was by far the highest rated one. People love this movie. Speaking of ratings, let's discuss the lowest rated film in the franchise.
In this movie, Dave and the Chipmunks, and now the Chipettes, are wanting a break from their boring life of work, school, and being one of the most famous performers at the time right now. So they go on a cruise where... Sorry, I lost my train of thought for a second. Anyway, where Alvin is acting childish like usual, you know, and Dave wants Alvin to be more mature. Dave wants Alvin to be more mature. And nothing is working, so Simon gives Dave some good advice.
Imagine Alvin is a spirited racehorse.
That's your advice?
And you, Dave, are his incredibly helpful jockey, who's there to guide him down the racetrack of life. But if you hold the reins too tight, that racehorse is going to fight and buck, which is no fun for anyone. But if you loosen the reins just a little...
He'll fly right off the track and crash into the fence.
I know you want to protect Alvin, but Dave, sometimes kids will rise to the occasion if you just show them a little trust.
That does seem a bit counterintuitive, considering what Alvin's already done, but it is true that too much restriction can cause rebellion. So fair point, Simon. Dave, while trying to loosen his grip, is still annoyed, and grounds him in this room while he's having dinner with David Wallace. Sorry, no, the captain of the cruise. You know, good on Dave for trusting the Chipmunks to stay in the room on their...
Where are you going? To the casino. I'm feeling lucky.
Never mind. Just never mind. Well, at least Dave's having a nice dinner. And okay, am I the only one concerned about that guy? No, clearly I'm not, because Dave is getting annoyed too. What's this guy's deal?
You have a problem with me?
Oh, you bet I have a problem with you.
Why?
As if you didn't know.
I don't know. Ian? What are you doing here?
I'm working, Dave.
This is your job?
Since the Chipmunks disobeyed the rules once again, they are now on 2 strikes, and you do not want to know what happens after 2 strikes. Don't even ask. So the only thing they're allowed to do for the rest of the trip is play shuffleboard. And since they're not cultured enough to appreciate the sheer joy and exhilaration that comes from playing shuffleboard, Alvin uses this opportunity to turn this punishment into doing something enjoyable-ishment.
It's wordplay!
However, since they're chipmunks, they struggle to stay on the ground, which is why we get a return of Super Simon, who is easily able to pull them back to the ground and tie them to Dave's chair. No, that doesn't make any sense.
No. Ian, you don't understand.
Now, both the Chipmunks and Dave and Ian are lost at sea. The Chipmunks being the first to make it to this island, but it turns out they're not alone on this island because we meet Zoe. And apparently she has some very cool friends. Then they do this. I guess Zoe was like an incredible engineer back home, because how the hell do you construct a zip line in the jungle?
Let me kick.
They don't come off. It's one piece.
Now Dave and Ian are on the island. Ian constructs a nest for him and Dave to sleep in. I can only imagine the fanfics that spawn. And this is where we finally get our first proper look at Simon's alter ego. We've only been seeing sneak peeks up until this point. Turns out his name is
Simone!
And he's French. Also, the charisma is off the charts. This is where Alvin and Brittany, but more so Alvin, are showing the worst parts of their personalities and are forced to mature to the unforeseen circumstances, most of which were caused by the very personality traits that are being displayed through the 2 more mature characters. Singing chipmunks. Pay attention. Super Simon, or Simone, jumps off a cliff and fights a fish, and then finds just some treasure in a cave behind this waterfall, which Zoe seems very, very interested in.
You guys, they found it. They found it! And the best part is, they don't even know what they found. They think that it's just one bracelet, which means that the rest of the treasure is mine. All mine!
Ah, gotcha. So Zoe has spent the last 8 or 9 years searching for this treasure. Great, cool. What the was she gonna do once she found it? Sit on it like a dragon? She has no way of getting off the island, especially with that much gold. Ian and Dave get to talking, then fighting. This is kind of where the movie jumps into conflict mode. There's a volcano, Zoe's trying to get the treasure, Simon's crazy, Alvin's responsible, Brittany's smart, Eleanor's injured, Theodore's Theodore, Jeanette's there, and Ian is a pelican. With the help of Simone, they're able to track down Dave, and now they're building a raft to get off the island. Dave and Alvin have this sweet heart-to-heart while Ian starts spitting facts.
Arc de Triomphe, Mayonnaise, Napoleon.
Oh, I get it, Frenchie. You come from a rich history. Well, guess what? We're all gonna be history if we don't get out of here.
They're about to get off the island after building this raft, and we're so close to finishing this movie. Zoe kidnaps Jeanette, and that hidden head brought back Simon. Another quick attempt at talking down the villain, which doesn't work. And I guess Simone's not completely gone, because here he is competing with the strength of an adult woman. I'm telling you, Simon is not a normal chipmunk. Dave throws Alvin a knife, they are skitting up. Never mind, Dave is going to die now.
It's tempting to blame Dave. I know. I've been there. I wish I could get back all those years I spent plotting my revenge. All that time and energy wasted. All those pizzas I had delivered to his house, wasted.
That was you?
Not now, Dave, all right? You could let Dave fall to his death, and I could go back to the raft with the Chipmunks, become their manager again, and make tons of money, so really, I'm good either way. But let me tell you something. Hate, anger, regret, those aren't just members of a girl group I once signed. They're what consumed me, and they're consuming you. It's not too late to do the right thing. Or not, again. I'm good either way, so I don't want to sway you.
That brings a tear to the eye. And it also works, so boom. They get off the island, they get rescued, they perform, and roll credits. Awesome. Great. I kind of understand why that's the worst rated film.
Here's the thing, the main idea is fine, and when compared to the other 2 films, it seems like it's a lot more jam-packed. But not really much happens in the movie. I'm being serious, it feels so off. So I did some digging to see who to point the finger at. And what I discovered simply made a lot of sense. This is the first movie that John Vitti didn't have a part in writing. And I know what you're probably asking. Who's that? Well, allow me to list out some projects that he wrote for. The Simpsons in the 90s, Ice Age, King of the Hill, Robots, Horton Hears a Who, the Angry Birds movie, and get this, The Office. That on top of the success, more so in terms of box office, not actual user reviews. I feel like he had proven himself to be pretty competent at writing for kids films, but off he went. Anyway, luckily the film wasn't a total disaster because something that I want to show you did come from him. Take a look.
Do you love Alvin and the Chipmunks? I can't hear you. We said yeah. Great. Do you love Just Dance? Wouldn't you love if we gave you Just Dance, but the only songs are Chipmunk songs, and it's the Chipmunks dancing, and we charge you way too much for it? Yeah! But what if we don't have a Wii or Xbox 360? That's okay, because introducing the third installment of the previous 2 DS games. It's slower, it's worse, it's probably just as expensive. Get Alvin and the Chipmunks, the game. Get it now! Get it now!
You've made it to the final movie. We open the 4th installment of the franchise with a little video coupled with some very subtle exposition. It's Dave's birthday and the girls are leaving to guest judge American Idol. I don't know why LMFAO is here.
From a little band called The Foo Fighters. What?
Busted.
Alright, if you got a keen eye, you may have noticed something. Someone is missing. And not just anyone, but motherfucking Ethan. Allow me to explain, because this was something that confused me for a very long time.
David Cross said yes to be in the first movie for one reason and one reason only. Money. He's very open about that, and I don't think there's a problem with that. He's a great actor and gave a great performance, yet was still heavily mocked for taking this role. Patton Oswalt in particular gave David Cross a lot of shit for being in this movie. Here's a statement from Patton Oswalt. Comedian Brian Bosman and I both threw the script across the room in disgust. David Cross caught it. That's a bit mean. I mean, David Cross hadn't had work in 6 months up until this point. That's not selling out, that is just doing your job. And doing it well. Parents have told him that the only reason they were able to get through the movie was because of him. So, okay, he didn't originally want to take the role. Is that it? Not even close. Because of the success of the first film, they locked him into a contract. I mean that literally. He says that they basically held him at legal gunpoint. He said the first movie was fine, the second movie was okay, but the third movie, in a different category of bad experiences. They were disrespectful of me and just so mean to me. And so petty and weird. They were so shitty to me. It was so inexplicably awful. Just awful. They were so shitty to me in every single way. At every single point. Apparently a lot of these complaints surrounded one particular producer who had previously been accused of acting very anti-Semitic. David Cross was raised Jewish. That's not good. Here's a concrete example of just how terrible his filming experience on the third film was. Listen to this and then just ask yourself, would you be happy working on another film after this experience? So he had continuously asked, will there be a third film? Will there be a third film? Because he had to schedule his work as he was going to London for Todd Margaret, a show heavily reliant on David Cross, but they wouldn't give him a straight answer. Then while in London, right before Christmas, he gets a call from his agent, who actually tells him, you might want to sit down for this. They're doing the third one. You are in it, and they want you in Hawaii in 10 days. He was currently doing pre-production for a different show in a different country. He asked so many times, will there be a third film? And got nothing. So obviously he was like, what's the chance I can get out of doing it? Mind you, Dave got basically out of the second film because he was filming a different show. And he was first on the call sheet. They responded to his agent, we will sue him for breach of contract. So he had to bail on his work, go to the shoot, and film for multiple days on a Carnival cruise. And do you want to know the worst part? Most of the time, he didn't have any lines, and you couldn't see his face. What? It would have been so easy to be able to not have him there for most of that filming. But no, he was there for no other reason than to torture him. So yeah, his contract ended and he got a pretty penny. And of course, he said, piss off when they asked him to be in the 4th film. Would you do the same? Also, if you're someone who listens to all of that mistreatment and is like, stop complaining, at least you got paid. Wow, you were out of your depth. This is baseline mistreatment, and if you are so willing to do that, go offer. Anyway, now you know what happened. Now you know why he's so angry. Let's get back to the movie.
They play some mini golf and we get introduced to Dave's lady friend, Samantha, and her teenage son, Miles, who is just a jackass. Dave and Samantha are now hitting it off, and the Chipmunks are not hitting it off with Miles. Then they discover something in Dave's bag that does not bode well for their situation. So they try to hide the ring to prevent Miles from becoming their brother. However, they're not quick enough, so they come to an agreement with Miles, go to Miami, and stop the proposal. But how do we get there, you ask? They use Samantha's credit card to get 1 plane ticket for 4 individuals. That won't work. So they have to get a little creative. Luckily, they get on the plane and have this fun interaction.
Oops, sorry. Oh, I didn't mean to startle you.
I'm not startled. It's just you're you.
I am me. And, you know, if you have a pen, I'm always happy to sign an autograph for a fan.
Oh, I'm not a fan.
Okay. Well, I'll be seeing you.
Alvin, insistent on extending the watch time of this movie and, subsequently, this video, decides to pretend he's a first-class passenger, which goes over very well.
May I see your boarding pass?
Gotta run! Simon, run! Where? On a plane. I don't know. Come on.
Freeze!
Air Marshal, don't move. What's that?
Oh, this can't be good.
Okay, now there's a go. The plane's going down. Safely. We're not crashing. People are idiots.
From cargo, and then you force an emergency landing.
We also snuck onto the plane.
That is 3 major infractions on 1 flight.
Yet Simon's not buying this.
Look, sir, what could we possibly have done to make you hate us so much?
Yeah, sure, we did break a couple rules and cause an emergency landing. And yes, the goat did kill 1 or 2 less than fortunate passengers, but who hasn't? So come on, what's the real reason you hate Alvin and the Chipmunks?
I'm breaking up with you.
What?
And the Chipmunks. Grow up, James.
Ensuring they don't get into any more trouble, they make sure to be very well behaved from this point onward. Never mind, they're running away. But you can't outrun the law of the sky. So maybe just all of the Chipmunks have some crazy powers. That's... Don't say it, you made that joke earlier. Pretty nuts. The Chipmunk joke! While chasing the Chipmunks through this, he gets absolutely hammered, which causes him to...
Oh, no, you asked for that one. The other one was their idea.
What other one?
Ah!
Busted.
Because he's a human and they're chipmunks.
Kind of racist now. They successfully steal the ring, which actually upsets Miles because he was starting to warm up to the idea of having a new family. Then Theodore... How do I put this? Theodore f***ing dies. Oh, say it ain't so.
I smell empanadas.
Never mind. They now plan a reverse heist to get the ring back to Dave before the proposal, which they successfully do, and as it turns out...
Guys, that ring isn't mine.
Yeah, he wasn't gonna propose. Now wait just a second. You're telling me that these goofy characters just went on an adventure across the country to try to stop something that wasn't even happening, all because of a misunderstanding? Yeah, it's a kid's movie. Idiot. So for like the 40th time, they get told to just stay in the room because they're in trouble. Honestly, it's Dave's fault at this point. Maybe take a page out of Uncle Ian's book and put him in a cage. Then it's the only way they won't do something like this. Anyway, the end of the movie is quite nice. And one more time for the people at the back. Alvin! So we've watched the movies. This is the part of the video that you actually probably were waiting for. The actual interesting stuff that I didn't really know where else to put in the video. So I put all the interesting stuff at the end to reward the people patient enough to get to this point. Also known as a speed round.
There's not 5 movies. There's actually 8 movies, 3 of which were straight to DVD based on the 80s cartoon. Yeah, they did full-on shows for a couple of fictional rodents. How many? 1? No. 2? Getting closer. 4. They did 4. The first in 1984, which looked terrifying. The second in 85, which included the Chipettes and was titled Alvin and the Chipmunks and the Amazing Computer. Looking at it, I think it should have been titled Alvin and the Chipmunks and the OK Computer. Then there was a massive gap. I guess the Amazing Computer didn't sell well enough. But they bring it back in 2008, probably after the first live action, which they performed in shopping centers. Then the most recent one in 2015, Alvin and the Chipmunks, the musical.
We were jumping up and down.
This was a big step up in production from their previous ones, but still, the idea of chipmunks being that big is not an idea I like to entertain. Will there be a 5th movie? I don't know. But what I do know is that there was going to be a 5th movie, but due to Road Trip being a bit of a flop, they cancelled production. But it's only been 10 years. I'm about to mispronounce a bunch of names. Alvin's normal voice is Justin Long. Singing voice was Ross Bagdasarian Jr. I'm just gonna call him Ross, who voiced both Simon and Alvin in the 80s. Speaking of Simon, Simon's normal voice is Matthew Gray Gublerm. Apologies if you're watching. His singing voice is Steve Yinning. Simone got his own actor, Alan Tudyk. I'm sorry. Theodore's normal voice was Jesse McCartney. Interestingly though, Theodore and all 3 of the Chipettes have the same singing voice. Janice Carmen, who voiced all 4 of them in the 80s. As for the normal voices for the Chipettes, surprisingly big names. We've got Christina Applegate, Anna Faris, and Eleanor was the only one to have a voice change throughout the movies. Originally Amy Poehler for the Squeakquel and Chipwrecked, but in Road Trip, Kaylee Kuko filled in. So it turns out they didn't just pitch the voices up and call it a day. Oh no, you're wrong if you think that. Dead wrong. Very, very wrong. And you should feel ashamed for thinking that they did it that simply, and you should probably apologize to any who— Sorry, it's a lot of pent up. I won't get into that. Turns out when they were filming, they actually had to talk at half the rate they usually did, then speed it up, then pitch it up to get it sounding just right.
And ordered us a round of virgin pina coladas and signed us up for parasailing.
Ordered us a round of virgin pina coladas and signed us up for parasailing.
Wild, isn't it? I'm about to say a bunch of interesting random things. In the first movie, that piano is the actual piano that Ross Sr., I'm not going to try the last name again, used to perform and write Witch Doctor, the first song that began the franchise in the 50s. The names Alvin, Simon, and Theodore weren't random. Ross Sr. actually named the Chipmunks after people at Liberty Records, who released the original albums. Alvin was named for company president, Alvin Bennett, Simon for company vice president / record producer, Cy Warrenker, and Theodore for recording engineer, Ted Key. When shipping the film, they used some interesting methods as to keep it a secret. Here's how they did it for the Squeakquel. It was shipped in 2 parts. The first part were the odd numbered reels, and then the even numbers came the following day, and it was shipped under the code name Hairy Beast 2. When production was first starting for the 4th movie, Justin Long said he didn't really want to be in it. So instead, he was going to be replaced by none other than Matthew Lillard.
Zoinks! Them peppers is like hot!
However, he wasn't available. Hey, Justin Long said he would do it.
If you got to the end of this very, very long video on Alvin and the Chipmunks, congratulations, pat yourself on the back. I'm sure it was very difficult. Yet if you're still hungry, not quite satisfied, and you want to watch another retrospective similar to this one, check out this video where I discuss what happened to Diary of a Wimpy Kid. But if you want to watch a less full-on video, YouTube thinks you enjoyed this one. Thanks for watching.